Hello, Paulo Leite here, record collector. Last week I posted a video about 5 jazz albums that I love very much. And the response so far has been very positive and I'm very grateful for it. A lot of people commented and left me messages and sent me emails talking about those albums. One of the albums that moved more discussion was this one, Charlie Parker with Strings, The Master Takes, that was released in 1995 by Verve Records. It's an album that I love very much. So, as a sequel to this, I wanted to show you 5 more albums that have incredible orchestras, string orchestras mostly. And I'm an orchestra guy, I love orchestras, so that's a piece of cake. So the first album I have for you is this one, Chet Baker with Strings. This is an album that you should discover or rediscover. Chet Baker was something like 24 years old, I think, when he recorded this. He was kind of a mega star in the jazz world back then. I think he never left that stage. I think he never stopped being a mega star, as far as I know. And this is an absolutely beautiful album from 1954. And it's important to notice that after Charlie Parker did his very successful strings albums, many musicians during those days decided also to record albums with strings. So strings became kind of a staple in every jazz artist for quite some time. This album contains great songs, not all of them very happy songs, but a very mixed group of jazz standards mostly. And the interesting thing about this album is that the collection of songs were arranged and conducted by different people. 4 great arrangers that I think are amazing and you should also know. The first one of them is Marty Page. Marty Page was a great arranger and conductor, and he has, actually I have an album from him that I think is also amazing. So this is Gershwin Live, an album by Sarah Vaughan and Michael Tilson Thomas. This is from 1982, I think. It's a beautiful album with a great orchestra. I think it's Los Angeles Philharmonic, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely beautiful. Sarah Vaughan sings like incredibly. And Marty Page was her personal choice for arranging the music here. So if it's good for Sarah Vaughan, it's good for you. Now back to Chet Baker. The other arrangers are Johnny Mandel, and I'm going to go back to Johnny Mandel in a minute. And the other ones are Jack Montrose, who also worked with pretty much everybody. And the last one is Shorty Rogers. I'm a huge fan of Shorty Rogers. He always managed to have great jazz albums who are also fun to listen to. One of his best albums that I have from him is this one, the Swingin Nutcracker. This is from 1960. He makes a very jazzy, very elegant and funny version of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker Suite. Beautiful album, lots of fun. So, Chet Baker with Strings, beautiful album from 1954. You should try this one. The next album I have for you is this one, Clifford Brown with Strings from 1955. This is a gorgeous album with a beautiful orchestra, huge orchestra. It's very lush, very sophisticated. And it's funny that strings, an orchestra of strings always brings to jazz music an element of class, elegance. And this album is the best example. This contains a number of classic jazz standards that everybody loves. And this is a beautiful album. Actually, this is a great contrast with the next album that I have for you, which is this one, White Gardenia, Johnny Griffin with strings and brass. This is from 1961, and it's a beautiful, heartfelt tribute to Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday died in 1959. This album was recorded in 1960 and released in 1961. Billie Holiday and Johnny Griffin had a very deep intellectual relationship. I think she helped him during his career, and he was incredibly thankful to her. And when she died in 1959, he was devastated, and he decided to create this album as a tribute to her. So he selected a number of songs from her songbook that are not easy songs. Like, for example, Gloomy Sunday, White Gardenia, That Old Devil Called Love, Detour Ahead, God Bless the Child. So these are songs that are not necessarily easy to reinterpret without Billie Holiday. They were immortalized by her, and these are not easy songs. And it's a great contrast between these two albums, because while Clifford Brown with Strings is an album for those in love, by those who are in love, this one is an album for those who are mourning. So this is not an easy album. This is a very somber, very thoughtful, pensive album. This is clearly the album from someone who is profoundly affected by loss. So it's an incredible contrast between two different moods that resulted in absolutely beautiful albums. So you should check these. Now, the next album I have for you comes also as a sequel to another one that I showed last week. So last week I also discussed this one, Conversations with Myself by Bill Evans, that was released in 1963. And this is heavily overdubbed. So Bill Evans plays overdubs over his piano that are beautifully played. But the album I have for you next is completely different. Is this one, Bill Evans with Symphony Orchestra. This was released in 1965, and actually it's an interesting story. After Conversations with Myself, an album that won a Grammy, immediately after that one, Bill Evans recorded an album where he plays songs from movies. It was a very commercial and very successful album that was conducted and arranged by Klaus Ogerman, who also conducts and arranged this one. Klaus Ogerman was an incredible arranger, composer also, who had great stuff recorded. I have some of his albums, and he was amazing. And the album back then in 1963 was completely crushed by the critics. The critics didn't see it as a good album. They said it was just a commercial exercise to sell albums, and they really hated it. I think that's a little bit silly, because the album is also very good. Bill Evans is the kind of artist who could never make something bad, even if he tried to. And obviously, in 1965, 2 years later, when Bill Evans came up with this one, the critics hadn't forgotten that one, so they also didn't like this one. They said it was uninteresting, there was nothing new. But actually, what Bill Evans and Klaus Ogerman do here, they select a number of classical pieces from Gabriel Fauré, Bach, Chopin, Scriabin, and some compositions by Bill Evans and Klaus Ogerman, and they give those compositions a beautiful orchestral reinterpretation. And they do a reimagining of these beautiful classical compositions into a jazz landscape. And the musical landscapes that they create here, they are gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful. Don't pay attention to the critics. This is an album to be treasured and discovered. And one more thing. Johnny Mandel, who was one of the arrangers of the Chet Baker album I spoke of a minute ago, he loved this album. And if it's good for Johnny Mandel, it's good for you. Also, Tony Bennett also loved this album. He said that this was one of the best albums of the year. And actually, Tony Bennett went 10 years later, in 1975, to record an album with Bill Evans. Actually, they released 2 albums together. So, also, if it's good for Tony Bennett, it's good for you. Last but not least, Prelude to a Kiss, Sonny Stitt with strings. This is a beautiful orchestra. Not only strings, a lot more than strings, but mainly strings. This is a tribute album to Duke Ellington. Several songs, famous songs that were immortalized by Duke Ellington. Take the A Train, for example, a beautiful song by Billy Strayhorn, but also Prelude to a Kiss, It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, Cottontail, In a Sentimental Mood, and a few others. So this is a beautiful album. It came in 1977, and again, critics didn't like it. And it's relatively easy to understand why. But that was the point. I mean, back in the 70s, jazz had moved away from these big, lush orchestras. Disco was king. And And Sonny Stitt is doing here a beautiful tribute, recapturing that sound from the Duke Ellington era. I think it's understandable why critics didn't like it. I do. I love this album. I think it's a beautiful tribute, perhaps one of the best tributes to Duke Ellington ever made. It's a gorgeous album with beautiful orchestrations, gorgeous music, and you should check out this one too. So here we have great albums with beautiful orchestras. Chet Baker with Strings from 1954. Clifford Brown with Strings from 1955. White Gardenia, Johnny Griffin with Strings and Brass, a tribute to Billie Holiday from 1961. Bill Evans with Symphony Orchestra from 1965. Prelude to a Kiss, Sonny Stitt with Strings, a tribute to Duke Ellington from 1977. And two more that I mentioned, the Swingin Nutcracker by Shorty Rogers from 1960, and Gershwin Live, Sarah Vaughan with Michael Tilson Thomas from 1982. I hope you will enjoy these albums. Thank you very much and see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. There's more great content coming soon. Thank you.